Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports contests and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Now, find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. Bet Online continues to be the top online resource for all sports information, from live in-game betting props and futures. Head to Bet Online today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Now, use our promo code BLEAV50 to receive your 50%. Welcome your bonus on your first deposit. Now, Bet Online is where the game starts. I hear you.
Can y'all hear me now? Thank goodness. Okay.
We got you now.
Okay. Sorry about that.
I know the track is hot, but
you gotta let that play real quick, right? Thank you everybody for tuning in. Welcome to another episode of Believe in Bills podcast. I'm your host, Justice General Radford, and of course, I always got the legend in the building with me. Legend in 2 games, no Pee-wee, championship coach Muki Hawkins in the building, and we got a very special guest with us today. AJ Cybalski.
Sweet. Yep.
See, look, we got it. All right. We appreciate you for joining us, AJ. Great show for you guys tonight. The Buffalo Bills handled business. All right. Look, everybody had their own opinions of what the Bills were going to look like, what they could do, more so what they thought the Dallas looked like and what they could do. The Buffalo Bills at home take care of business and show that, hey, they're a force to be reckoned with. Now, there was the story of the day, obviously. We're going to start with you, AJ, as our guest. Tell us who who we all thought the player of the game was, but just James Cook impact and what he, provides to this Bills offense.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes hand in hand, and thank you, Muki, for giving me the opportunity to join you guys tonight. James Cook, obviously, 179 yards rushing, 1 touchdown, 7.2 yards per carry, and then in the air, 2 receptions for 42 yards and a touchdown. So another great performance from him. You really have seen him come along with Joe Brady. It's kind of like a hand-in-hand thing. So I think James Cook, what he brings is speed. I think he's good at making the first guy miss. And I think he's been a little bit more physical this week. And in the post game with Aaron Andrews, he was asked about, what made him play like this today. And he said it's preparation. The preparation's been there. And Sean McDermott also reiterated that in the post game presser about just how he's kind of been focused and locked in. And when he's like that, he can really accomplish anything. So James Cook, what a game. I think he's becoming a star right before our eyes. I think it's pretty cool that Stephon Diggs got to witness Dalvin Cook in his prime. Now he's getting to see James Cook, his younger brother, kind of come into his own in Buffalo. And again, shout out to James Cook, but also this offensive line. I think Deion Dawkins, you saw that clip of him, pancaked the guy all the way down the field with a great block. And I think this offensive line was also willing to block today, open up some holes for James Cook. Dawson Knox coming back, another unsung hero of this game, always willing to block. Great run blocker, and I think he adds that. It won't show up on the stat sheet. But Dawson Knox is another piece to this kind of offense that has emerged the past few weeks. So, yeah, James Cook, player of the game, and the Bills are rolling 8-6 here with back-to-back wins over 2 of the top teams in football.
Should be 3 wins, but we'll talk about that later. Coach, you talked about who your X Factor was. You gave a different X Factor today, but we all know who your real X Factor was, right? And it is, as always, is James Cook. And, as AJ so eloquently put, he had a monstrous game today. Talk to us about the Bills using the run game and just running it down Dallas's throat. Just mano a mano. I'm bigger, stronger. I want it more than you. And I'm just going to push you down the field. It was just, they just out-toughed them.
Well, this is the game that we've been waiting to see out of this Bills team. When are we going to get down to just some gritty smash mouth football? We definitely got it today. And it really wasn't the game plan, more or less. When I asked Josh, how comfortable was he with this game plan and, the outcome, basically. And he was like, well, basically, it's not, that they had planned for this. It's just how the game went. And for the first time, they just let me know that, hey, let's just ride this thing until it stops, right? But it never stopped. The Bills normally are the ones that would stop it. And they almost did it the second time when they get the ball back. They put Ty Johnson in on the second offensive possession. Bills go 3-and-out. What in the hell are we doing right now? Why James Cook wasn't out there that second possession, I don't know. But they realized that, got things going again, and every drive that he was out there, the Bills found success. So this team goes how James Cook go, and I've been saying it all season long. Go back now to games 2, 3, and 4 when James Cook was an impact out there, and they were basically unbeatable. Same thing I'm saying back then, I'm saying now. You run the football, they look unbeatable against the hottest team in the NFL right now. So James Cook is the key to this offense. Teams are not going to allow Josh Allen to throw the ball all over the yard. So you have to take what they give you. If they giving you the run game, damn it, with James Cook and everybody else, run the ball. 266 yards on the ground today. Josh Allen got sacked one time out of this great defense that everybody just crowned him to be the best since Super Bowl teams. And this defense is obviously clearly, by the looks of today, they got a lot of work to do before they even can be considered to be one of those Super Bowl type defenses. So today was just a good old fashioned ass whooping, and I like the style that the Bills went out and portrayed. They just, if it wasn't broke, they didn't fix it. So James Cook was the best player on the field last week. He was the best player on the field again this week, and it's definitely something for the Bills to build off going into December. When you have to run the ball and play good defense. So a war in the trenches today, and both sides of the ball for the Buffalo Bills dominated, offense and defense.
Yeah, absolutely. I really think it's fair to say that James Cook took a step today into stardom. Today was one of those games where you was just like, oh my God, he really is a one of one type of player. He's a top 10 back in this league. He is Dalvin Cook reincarnate. It's almost like as soon as Dalvin Cook lost his superpowers, they just transferred right over to James, and he just took right over it. Didn't miss a step. And you talk about that Dallas defense that was touted as this great defense, best defense in the league, and all these big names that Dexter Lawrence's, Michael Parsons and Mozzie Smith, and what's the best way to take Stephon Gilmore and Bland out of the game? You don't have to throw the ball. you just run it. What's the best way to take Michael Parsons and Mozzie Smith and Dexter Lawrence out the game? You run at them, and you just out physical them. And great blocking schemes. And Aaron Cromer, Joe Brady take a bow. The run concepts were absolutely phenomenal today. It gave James Cook just enough space to be able to make something happen, and then to show his upside and what he can do with the football in his hands. And he absolutely made the most out of it with more than 220 yards from scrimmage, 2 tutties. Should have had 3 tutties. He had an easy drop there on a, but and so the numbers could have been even more gaudy because he could have had 3 touchdowns. Josh could add another touchdown pass. But still a magnificent win. Now, Coach, let me ask you this. How dangerous can this Bills team be if they can win games without Josh Allen?
Well, it could be quite damn dangerous. You just see what they did against one of the top offense, this high-powered offense. You see what they just did with no Micah Hyde out there, by the way. No Micah Hyde today. And they made Dallas Cowboys look pedestrian on both sides of the ball. Both sides of the ball got dominated, got manhandled today. All right, again, if they do what they're supposed to do against Philly, different scenario. They don't have a brain fart against Denver, different scenario. They play Mac Jones the way they played Dak Prescott, different scenario. You know what I mean? So it hasn't been the players. It's just been, some coaching debacles why this team has really had 6 losses. So they're very fucking dangerous.
Okay, AJ, I got a question for you. I didn't intend on asking this question, but I almost feel like I got a dare for Muki here. All right. Okay, I'm gonna ask it. Did Ken Dorsey sabotage or try his best to sabotage the Buffalo Bills season?
Oh
No,
I'm not saying that you said that, Coach. I'm just saying, like,
no, I don't think
evidence.
it was that. I think there were. Look, we talked about it before the show. I think Ken Dorsey did a good enough job to be dominant at times. There was a lot of inconsistencies. I think he had trouble getting everybody involved. Obviously, he had trouble utilizing James Cook's skill set. But no, I think Ken Dorsey did try his best. He's probably happy right now. I think he's, to see a team that he coached take that next step. Obviously, the Joe Brady move had to happen. Looks like it. But
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Real quick, do you think you're really happy? Because the only reason I will push back on that is because you take a look at the Bills' offense and you got the best toys in the world to work with, and he literally made them a shell of themselves. And then he kind of saw another guy who was his inferior, like come in and do his job at a much higher clip than himself. I mean, to me, that almost kind of eliminates him from any offensive coordinator job for at least the near future. Do you think he really is happy about Joe Brady's success?
I'll say that he was part of the development of Josh Allen and that he's been in this building for, many years. So in that aspect, sure, maybe for his coaching career on that point, I still think he could be a quarterback's coach in this league. I still think he'll get an opportunity. It's not like he was running. He's still at a top 5 offense in points, yardage every year, or in 2022 and halfway through this year. It just wasn't clicking on all cylinders when they needed it to be. So yeah, you might be right. It's an assumption. I don't know if he's happy or not, but again, he helped develop Josh Allen when Brian Daboll was the offensive coordinator. And, he had a good relationship. That Josh Allen, the whole team spoke highly of him. So didn't work out. But again, Joe Brady's come in and done a great job with this offense and made them and taken them to that next step.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like we said before the show even started, the offense was good with Dorsey, but it was just predictable. And it can't be predictable when you have those type of weapons that the Bills offense has. With a veteran, much more experienced group that's been with each other for 4 or 5 years, the inexperience showed, and the inexperience was in the play caller. So, that's, where the drop off is. That was the dead weight. So, maybe I'm quite sure it wasn't Kent Dorsey that hired Joe Brady, so somebody in the building had some sort of worry, probably say, hey, if this don't pan out, who's our safety valve to go to if this doesn't work? That guy's looking like a genius now. I don't know who it is, whether it's Coach McDermott or Bean. That guy's looking like a genius now. And maybe, hey, we can swap. We can swap. Davis Webb can come back next year and be the quarterback's coach while Ken Dorsey goes and help Daboll in the Giants. Who knows? That could be a win-win for him. So that's some things that Dorsey still has to pick up on to be an elite play caller in this league. I think he suit best with a young quarterback and grow together, kind of like how Daboll did with Josh. Learn together, have those growing pains together, have the success together. And you see, where the success gotten the two. Daboll's a head coach now, and Josh is one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. So that's something that Dorsey probably, a route that Dorsey need to take. Go start with a younger team because you're a younger mind yourself. That way you can grow with them together, and you share them growing pains until you find success. So that's where I think that lies at. With that, but again, Brady is doing. He's getting better. Definitely from what he did last week. So, hey, he looks pretty good today, running the ball, making a point of emphasis to run the ball, even though that wasn't the clear-cut game plan. Just to show me that in-game adjustment like that, like, hey, we got something going here. Let's see how far we can finally take it. And, especially with last week, you took the foot off the gas when he had 5 catches, 83 yards last week. And that's all he ended up with the remainder of the game. And then you find yourself stalling out on offense, allow Kansas City to get back in the game. So, he learned from last week.
Well, I'll tell you one person that is happy that Dorsey was canned and that Brady is at the helm now. And that one person is definitely Aaron Cromer, because there were a lot of questions about, why the offensive line and the run scheme weren't looking the way that it was looking back when he was our offensive line coach previously when Shady was here and they were the number one team in the league in rushing and so on and so forth. And with Joe Brady coming in, he has allowed for the team to show its rushing prowess and be able to move the ball at an extremely effective clip tonight. And then we also talked about earlier in pregame, Coach, we talked about how James Cook is able to rush for over 100 yards multiple times this season for the first time since LaShawn McCoy. So you're kind of getting that back. And you don't even have to use Josh in the run game as much. So when you look at all that, you look at what this offensive line was able to do against a well-rounded defensive line, one of maybe the scariest defensive lines in the league. Take a look at that. The AFC isn't the scariest thing in the world, okay? Right? You have momentum. You should have beaten a Philadelphia team. You beat a Kansas City team, so much so that the quarterback and the legendary head coach both broke. Literally, they just malfunctioned, right? And then you go out and you rout a Dallas Cowboys team that looked hot. This was basically a late season Miami game where the hottest team in the league comes in and they come to Buffalo and they get popped, right? So you take a look at how the offensive line was able to push around Dallas, how we're winning in the trenches on a consistent basis, how the AFC looks weak, and we're hot rolling into the playoffs, which I would imagine, Miami got Dallas and Baltimore coming up. Chances are that game in Miami at the end of the season is going to be for the division, just, by numbers sake, right? The Bills with winning the trenches, because it's one thing to have Josh Allen, but when you're also winning in the trenches, you become the toughest team and the most difficult to defend. So how can you stop a Bills team with Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and we're winning in the trenches, Coach?
Well, that's just, again, what we said before the season started. Once again, last year, this Buffalo Bills team was probably, they had a Super Bowl roster, right? This was the best team they was the Super Bowl favorite with that roster last year. This roster is better than last year's roster. Just look at it. The injuries that this Bills team has faced, with the coaching changes that this Bills team has faced, for him to still be in this position, 9 times out of 10, the season is over with if you had dealt with what these Bills went through, this season. But it's not over. They experience again. They've been in this situation before. And look how they rise to the occasion. Tyrell Johnson is playing like a damn madman out there these past couple of games. You got to give him his flowers for that. Leonard Floyd, what can I say about Leonard Floyd? So it's happening. Guys are making plays. And, again, when you got a team that played with each other for 4 or 5 years in a row, they've been in every situation, they know what it takes down the stretch. And right now, this team is locked in, they're focused, they're gelling at the right time. And, like I said, that's very dangerous for any team that, that's on the schedule, because that Super Bowl, that talk of the potential of this team will start to show, and today it showed. All right, if they could continue that same demeanor for these next 3 games, Super Bowl favorite, you can throw that back in there. Only team that they haven't played will be Baltimore. All right, so nobody in the AFC should scare this Bills team going forward.
And I just want to add about, one more person we haven't discussed yet is Sean McDermott. He's taken a lot of heat this year. When you give a guy heat, you got to give him his flowers as well. To hold the Dallas Cowboys and the Kansas City Chiefs to 27 points, you held the Chiefs to 17, held the Cowboys to 10. I thought the Bills defense played and he said it after the game, complimentary football, which is his go-to word, but they did play that today. I thought, what comes to mind is that Tony Pollard hit to start the game or Terrell Bernard just pops him, and it just sets the tone. Like, they were able to set the tone on defense. They were able to wrap up. There was not that many yards after the catch. You basically dominated the MVP frontrunner and probably the best quarterback in football the last 2 weeks. So Sean McDermott responding from criticism and all that stuff, he's really showing that this team is still bought into what he wants to do. This defense, Brandon Beane said midseason that they're still trying to find their identity. I think this defense now with the injuries, They're kind of finding that identity. AJ Epinesa out, Micah Hyde out. Like you said, Mookie Dotson coming into his own as a run defender. This defense, again, the story is going to be the offense and James Cook, but also Sean McDermott and what he's done with this defensive unit these past 2 weeks in must-win situations. Bravo, Sean McDermott.
You know what? That's a great point, AJ. You absolutely put it perfectly. You take a look at what Sean McDermott has done, especially on the defense when you lose your best players. Like, I mean, across the board, you asked who are the Bills' 4 or 5 best players before the season starts, and you got Trey White, Von Miller. Nobody knew Terrell Bernard would be this good, right? So you got Matt Milano. That's what I was thinking of. And then, all 3 of those guys go down. Daquan Jones playing absolutely phenomenal. He goes down. To be able to do that, I mean, and really, they held the Cowboys to 3 points tonight, if we're being honest. That 7 came against backups when nothing mattered, really, and they kind of capitalized on that just to kind of make it look not as bad as it was. The defense is on one right now. So, AJ, I'm going to ask you this. We play the Chargers and then the Patriots. So previous to the Miami game, before we even know if we're going to be playing for the division or what, are the Buffalo Bills a Super Bowl contender right now?
Yes, they are. And the betting apps all agree too. They're the fourth best odds right now to win the Super Bowl, and they're the 9th team in the AFC right now. So 4th best Super Bowl odds. Obviously, these people are starting to notice. They put themselves on the map. I said, the 2020 season when they were able to dominate down the stretch there, when they had like the Broncos game where Jerry Hughes had that scoop and score, and they were just blowing teams out of the water. I feel like the Bills will be able to do that these next few games with the Chargers and Patriots next on the schedule. People might want to call it a trap game, but I think this Bills team has found its identity on both sides of the ball. I think they're going to be able to dominate. You got Easton Stick coming up, and then you got the Patriots at home, a team that you lost to early in the season, have a bad taste in your mouth. You want to get that out of the way. So you go there 10-6. That game is probably going to be for the division, but if not, if the Dolphins somehow beat, the Ravens and Cowboys in back-to-back weeks, 11-6 probably still gets you in with the way these other AFC teams and these injuries are stacking up. So look, if the Bills get in, they have every chance to get in or to make it to the Super Bowl. And watching this Ravens-Jaguars game, at least like the first few quarters, just shows you that even the Ravens without Mark Andrews have lost a little bit of that offensive firepower. And I think that the Jags all these teams in the AFC, like you said, Justus, are beatable. And with the way the Bills are playing right now, watch out.
See, but that's kind of where my question came from about if Ken Dorsey sabotaged the season. I don't think he purposely was like, I'm going to make sure the Bills don't win games, right? That's not what I'm saying. But when you take a look at it, you just mentioned it, AJ. The Ravens are having trouble with the Jaguars, right? The Chiefs just lost a couple games in a row, and then even looked like they were having some trouble today to start the game, right? The Dolphins, we've seen them lose to good teams. And then every other team has an injured quarterback or whatever. The point is, everybody in the AFC can be had. Now, I would argue if you look at the Buffalo Bills with Joe Brady as your play caller, not Ken Dorsey, the Bills are the only team that looks dominant in the AFC over the last 4 weeks. They're the only team that looks like, all right, you're not going to walk in there and they're just going to have a bad day. They're going to come to play. And that wasn't the situation when Dorsey was there. It was just like, we'll see what kind of Bills team we get today. We've seen a consistent dominance from the offensive standpoint from the Buffalo Bills since Joe Brady has been there. So it kind of makes you feel like, hey, they could beat anybody that could run the table here. So, Coach, let me ask you this. I know what we want. We want to win the division, right? That's the goal. But what is the Bills' best chance of making it to the playoffs? Is it through the division, hoping that Miami loses one of these next 2 games, or is it in the wild card and hoping that things could fall our way?
Just control your destiny. Just win. Winning takes care of everything. They run the table. They're the division, but we don't know how else this thing might shake out. They might win the division and be a 2-3 seed. how all of these things are shaking out. But Jacksonville ain't no slouch team. Some people had them picked to go to the Super Bowl this year. So to say that Baltimore is struggling against them,
no, but I'm just saying they can be had though. That's all.
Everybody can be had. Right now, I'll say the top two teams in the AFC is obviously Baltimore and the Bills. Those are the top two teams. Bills has beat everybody, and they done lost to Jacksonville and stuff like that. But as far as who's playing the best football right now in the conference, bar none, Baltimore and the Bills are the best two teams in the AFC when it comes down to the past 3-4 games. Who's been playing the best football? The NFC, that's still a toss-up too. San Fran right now is in a league of their own. They're gelling at the right time. So if they just continue to do what they did today, what was wrong with today? You should not change who you are these next 3 games. James Cook should be a potential star, a star in the making. Ain't no potential. A star in the making right now. James Cook should be. Right now, should be talking about one of the top backs in the league. We haven't had a production like this since Thurman Thomas. We're talking about just total yards of scrimmage. He's competing with McCaffrey right now. If the Bills can just allow him to be himself next week, the week after that, hey, everything will sort itself out against Miami at home, his hometown. So you know how you feel about that. So whatever today is, the Bills should just be that way the remainder of the year.
Yeah.
No reason. Josh is going to be Josh some games, but we should not ever forget that we have a run game after a performance like this today. There's no reason for the Bills not to run the football.
Yeah.
There's no reason.
And they had to make Sean McDermott happy, right? Like, he's the one that kind of preached, we need to run the football. We need to run the football. And a lot of fans, and I understand, because the pass, when you're passing at a high level, watching that game, like watching a game where Josh Allen's, making plays outside the pocket and doing everything that Josh Allen can do, it's fun to watch. But today was a different feel. They ran the ball, almost more than double than they passed the ball, and they dominated the Dallas Cowboys. So yeah, it's like Muki said, running the football, especially late in the year, when you need it, it's important, and that's what the Bills are figuring out and doing right now.
Yeah, all around great win here today. They won the turnover battle. They scored points off turnovers. Not only did they score points off turnovers, they scored touchdowns off of turnovers. They scored touchdowns off of personal foul penalties. They gave them second chances on the drive. They capitalized on all these things. And you take a look at James Cook, and I remember when Christian McCaffrey was an option for the Bills, and I was like, no, we don't need Christian McCaffrey. But then after, I was kind of like, I wish we would have got Christian McCaffrey, only because he's a good player, but you can't ignore him. You can't just throw the ball 8 straight times when you got CMC in your backfield, because he's a stud and you have to utilize him. So it's kind of like, oh my God, like I wish Dorsey would have a star running back just so that he would be forced to run the ball. Well, now Joe Brady is running the ball, and we have discovered that we have a star running back on the field the whole time. And he's out there. He looks like a wide receiver. Outside of the 2 bad catches, both of them touchdowns, 2 bad drops, that he has in the season. Both of them are touchdowns. But outside of that, he did have the 1 touchdown catch where he ran a great route, looked like a wide receiver. He just looks really, really good. So Buffalo Bills beat the Dallas Cowboys 31-10. Next up, guys, we got the Los Angeles Chargers. And they're coming off of a god-awful loss, but it's something to look forward to. Any early thoughts on that game for next week, Coach?
Yeah, no sympathy. We don't care that, y'all got y'all asses kicked last week. We don't care that y'all got a new coach and y'all gonna be playing on so much emotion and stuff like that. We know how things like that create a spark in teams. Obviously, what happened with Dorsey created a spark in the team, and look at the success that the Bills have had. But there's no way that the Bills go out there and lose the Eastern Stick when we got Josh Allen out there. We cannot play down to the level of our competition because the Raiders whooped their ass last week. The Bills need to keep the foot on the gas just like the Raiders did, and continue to have this type of success that they've been having. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. See, look, it's still going. The clock just ran out. Keep going with James Cook and see what that gets you. It's going to open things up for Diggs. It's going to open things up for Josh Allen under center. Josh Allen's 94 yards today. You would have told me that Josh Allen would have had 94 yards passing, and they just blew out the Cowboys. Nobody would have believed you on that one. And James Cook had more yards himself than the entire Cowboys team on offense. So if they just all of a sudden just struggle against the Chargers, that's coaching. That, you know, you can't put up this type of performance and then struggle against a bad Chargers team on the road. I don't care. You know, so I think the mentality is no sympathy for them, all gas, no brakes, you know, because, hey, it's a must-win still situation for this Bills team in order for them to control their destiny with the playoffs. Don't rely on nobody to get you in. Control your destiny, lock in, take care of business against the Chargers.
Yeah, the Bills have been playing playoff football the last couple of weeks now. They need to win in order to have a chance at the postseason. So as far as they're concerned, this is the playoffs. What about you, AJ? Do you have any preliminary thoughts about the game next week?
Yeah, I just reiterate like really what Muki said. Easton Stick. I mean, you have to find a win in December against that guy. They're 14-point favorites right now, opening line. So I think the Bills should, again, dominate in this one. They have a plus 125 point differential right now. I expect that to keep increasing in these next 2 weeks. So, yeah, this Bills team, again, they have everything in front of them. The Dolphins have 2 tough games coming up. The Bills have 2 easier games. Like Mookie said, stick to what you do. Stick to what you do great. Don't adjust to what other teams are doing. Continue to stick with what you do. Joe Brady proved that today. He stuck with the run, kept doing it. Same play over and over again, and it worked. So, yeah, just continue what you're doing and keep this momentum riding.
Yeah, absolutely. So another great win for the Buffalo Bills. It's going to be a good week for Bills fans listening to ESPN and Fox Sports and all that other stuff. So get ready for that. All right, guys.
Stephen A. Smith will be he'll be relentless on First Take tomorrow, Bills fans. If you want to tune in, it'll be a good one.
I'm more interested in seeing what Nick Wright has to say because he was talking all crazy. Louis Riddick too. Louis Riddick was talking hot mess and
wait till Shady tomorrow. I know Shady's going to have a lot to say
for sure.
With Dak Prescott, Josh Allen is now moved into the driver's seat for the MVP. AJ, we got to have you back on this week too, my guy. Good stuff.
Absolutely.
Sounds good to me. Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, AJ. Thank you guys for tuning in, Bills Mafia. We appreciate you. Big win for the Buffalo Bills. Coach, send us out.
Bills look like Super Bowl contenders. Do you believe? Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports contests and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Now, find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. Bet Online continues to be the top online resource for all sports information, from live in-game betting props and futures. Head to Bet Online today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Now, use our promo code BLEAV50 to receive your 50%. Welcome your bonus on your first deposit. Now, Bet Online is where the game starts.